I'm Quinn, and today I'm going to give you my list of the ranking of all 23 Bond films. And I just want you to know this is a subjective list. If it was ranking by how good each film was, this list would be completely different. So I'm just going to go into it with number 23. Yeah, so number 23, I think most people would agree on this, it's just a terrible film, Quantum of Solace. This film, the main thing that's bad about this is that the plot is very hard to follow. The editing's terrible. You can look at a Calvin Dyson video, he'll tell you why. The theme song is one of the worst pieces of music I've ever heard. Especially compared to the, the Rejected theme, because that one's so much better. And it's really sad that this theme was what was put on. And Bond wasn't Bond in this movie. He was like Born Identity. It was really not a Bond film. So that number 22, I hate to do this to you guys, but I just didn't like it. For your eyes only. I don't really know why I don't like this film. It's just, I don't know, I felt that the action pieces were shoved in there just for the hell of it. BB was the worst thing in any Bond film. I mean, the characters weren't that bad, it's just, I don't know, Roger Moore I think of more as a campy Bond, and this was just too serious. I never thought I'd say that. I just didn't really like the film. I just thought it was a weaker plot, the enemies weren't that fantastic, and it's not like a huge deal what they were trying to do, so, I don't know, I didn't like it. And with 21, and I don't know how this film got so high, I just liked it, Die Another Day. This film is probably the kookiest film I've ever seen. I mean, the first, hour of it was awesome, and then I think as soon as they got to the Ice Palace, that's when it went downhill. The Madonna cameo was terrible. It was kind of like Grace Jones in A View to a Kill. But, the action scene was really good. It's just, I felt that the plot, even for a Bond film, was insane. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I really did. I don't get why it gets such a bad rap. It was Brosnan was my favorite Bond, so it was kind of sad to see that as his last film, but to be honest, every Bond has a bad film. Either way, I liked it. It was number 20. And before I say what number 20 is, I just want to say it's a good film. I like all the other ones more. Dr. No. This film really is good. It's just, I think of it as, this film is the basis for all the other ones. Just every film after it's better. And I guess this is the start of the movies I really like. It's number 19. And this film is actually one of the best films in the entire series. It's just, I didn't like it. On Her Majesty's Secret Service. This film really is, if this was an objective list, I think it would be in the top 5. It's such a well-made film. It's just, I don't know, the first hour of it was really boring. It's kind of like the second half of Die Another Day. I just really didn't enjoy it. If you combined the first half of Die Another Day and the second half of this movie, it would probably be my favorite Bond film. And George Lazenby was pretty weak. So with that, number 18. And I don't know, something about this film. A View to a Kill. It really is an interesting film. When I first saw it, it was really high up there, but I don't know. Roger Moore just seemed really, really old. You could see the stunt doubles, even more than in Dr. No. The supporting cast in this movie is great. It's just, the plot was kind of a ripoff of Goldfinger. I don't know. Something about it. Maybe just Grace Jones. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I thought the other films were better. And I'm not saying Grace Jones was bad, it's just, I don't know, it was the equivalent of having, Lady Gaga on a Bond film today. I liked it, but it just seemed a little weird. I thought she was a great villain, don't get me wrong, she's probably top 10 henchman, but I don't know, the entire film is weird. And with that, we have what I believe is one of the more underrated Bond films in the series, Diamonds Are Forever. I don't know, it's just something about this film. Maybe it's because Bond finally defeats Blofeld until really For Your Eyes Only, which doesn't really count because that was pretty shitty. But I don't know, I thought the plot was a bit outrageous. I liked the movie. I thought the henchmen were great. Blofeld was really well acted. I thought his death per se wasn't great, but I don't know, I thought it was a good film. There's bits, though, that really did not make any sense that I thought brought the film down. Connery looked really old, like older than Roger Moore in A View to a Kill. So I think that might have been one of the biggest faults of the film. It was a great film. I don't get why it gets such a bad rap, but I think this is a good spot for it. And now number 16, in a film which I very much enjoy, You Only Live Twice. The first time I saw this, I didn't really like it, but the more I watch it, the more I enjoy it. There's not really any major flaws with this movie, except for the fact that it seems that Sean Connery doesn't really try in this film as much as in other ones. In his previous, and actually, even in, like, Never Say Never Again, he acted better. The supporting cast in this film are great, though. I feel like, actually, I never thought I'd say this, though, but the biggest problem with this film is how Sean Connery acted. At number 15, which I personally believe is probably the campiest film in the entire series, Moonraker. This film is really... You have to be in the mood to watch this film. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a funny movie. If you want to have a fun time, the villains are really good. Like, actually one of the better villain groups in the entire series. The plot is kind of The Spy Who Loved Me, but that's okay. I liked it. It was fun. Jaws was awesome, this movie, till the very end. The movie was funny. It was funny. Enjoy it. I mean, I wouldn't recommend this to anyone unless you like campy Roger Moore films, but I enjoyed it. At number 14, in a film which... I don't get why people hate this film so much. The Man with the Golden Gun. It's really... It's an interesting film. I've never really seen any other Bond film that was like this. It's Bond... The entire story is him just meeting his match. The villain's plot really doesn't matter. What you're focusing on is him versus the Man with the Golden Gun, and that's what I like about this film. Yes, it's goofy, but so is every Roger Moore film. At 13, and please don't yell at me, it's a good film, it's just I enjoy the other ones more. Casino Royale. I'm sorry. I'm a Brosnan fan, I missed him. This is a really good film. It really is a great film. It's arguably the best made Bond film, it's just I enjoyed the other ones more. It's kind of like On Her Majesty's Secret Service. If this was an objective list, this would be 1 or 2 probably. It's just, I'm more of a campy Bond fan, and this is not campy. I don't know. It had some of the best scenes in the entire series. Don't get me wrong, it's a great film. It's just I enjoyed the other ones more. At number 12, and I think he's just a better version of Craig, sorry. License to Kill. It's a great film. I mean, it shows the dark side of Bond, and it's really, I enjoyed it. I thought it's a great film. I don't get why it gets such a bad rap. I know it's not really a Bond film, but so is, like, half of the Bond films. I mean, the characters are menacing, and Bond really is pissed off, and it's a good ending, and I think the best ending for any Bond. At number 11, in what I personally think is slightly better than License to Kill, we're about tied, is Living Daylights. This used to be my least favorite Bond film, but it's just over time grown on me. The theme song is awesome, and it just gets better and better. The casting is really good in this film. Dalton's a badass in this film. He gets the best picture, and I think, of any Bond film right about here, and he's just it was a great opening for him. I thought it portrayed what he was as a Bond. Had a really kind of confusing story, but a really solid one. And I thought it was just good. And with that, number 10 in a film which is probably Roger Moore's best film, The Spy Who Loved Me. This film was a complete reboot after probably 3 or 4 really kooky Bond films. And I thought it was his best acted one. The plot was probably the best Roger Moore's. The villains were great. The gadgets were awesome and very memorable. Jaws was the man in this film, and I was very happy he came back for Moonraker. And all in all, it was just a great film. At number 9, in a film which I really don't know why I like so much, I just do, The World Is Not Enough. This movie, okay, yes, there's Denitra Richards, but they did that on purpose. They wouldn't accidentally cast her as that. It's a great film. I don't see anything wrong with it, really. It was just a good, solid film. I don't get why people diss it so much. It's a fun film to watch, and I would recommend it to anyone, to be honest with you. At number 8, and a film that I really... Again, with the World's Not Enough, I don't know why, but Tomorrow Never Dies. It's a good film, and this one I know why I like it, because it's so action-packed. There's so much action in this movie. What I don't get is why people don't like this movie. It has everything. The Bond girl's awesome. The villain's awesome. The henchman, he's... Fuck it, he's okay. You have a good Bond doing it, and it's a really good movie. And Jonathan Pryce was awesome in this movie. I don't get what's wrong with this movie. I don't get why people hate it so much. I loved it, and that's why it's number 8. Every Bond fan has that one film that they love, but they don't know why, and for me, that's Octopussy. It's such a fun film. I don't know why I like it. I think it has all the things that I really wanted to film. It's a lot of action. The plot you can actually follow. It's like your generic Bond film. That's what I liked about it. The henchman's awesome. I can't get over the henchman. He was great. The villain is awesome. I don't see any major flaws with this film. Maud Adams, I thought this was a way better casting for her than in The Man with the Golden Gun, and I wish Roger Moore retired in this film because it's so him. He dressed up as a clown, for God's sakes. It was a great film. I enjoyed it. And with that, number 6, my personal favorite Daniel Craig film, Skyfall. I don't know why I enjoyed this film so much. I just thought it was a really clever change of pace film. It was a very good anniversary film. I thought much better than the 40th anniversary film, Die Another Day. I thought it was a very solid plot. I liked how including Judi Dench actually made sense in this film, unlike every other Bond film. And, yeah, it was just a great film. And now, the top 5, and starting that off is a film that you either love or hate, Thunderball. I get why people hate this movie. I really do. I just thought it was a good film, especially because I watched it after Never Say Never Again, and it just made it that much better. It's a great film. I thought it was a great follow-up to Goldfinger, and I would really seriously recommend this to anyone. It was a great film. I get why people don't like it. I just personally thought it was very good. And number 4, definitely my favorite Roger Moore film, Live and Let Die. This film has arguably the best theme song. The villains are all awesome. It's such a change of pace from this Connery and Lazenby films. The plot's very interesting and I guess realistic for the time, maybe. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I don't actually see any flaws in this film. It's perfect for me. It's definitely a great start and my personal favorite Roger Moore film. And this is probably the film I've seen the most because I just love it so much. At number 3, the most famous Bond film, Goldfinger. This film really is something. I mean, it's not my favorite, but if I had to recommend a Bond film for someone to watch, it would be this one because there's no weak point to this film. Connery's probably at his best here. The villains are the best in the entire series. And the plot is really not what you would expect it to be, and it's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, out of any Bond film, this really is the go-to one for anyone that's not seen a Bond film before. My number 2 and my number 1 films flip-flop for me a lot, but as of right now, my number 2 film is From Russia with Love. I just love this film. The plot is my favorite part of this film because it's so much deeper and better than any other Bond film, in my opinion. The Red Grant, besides Jaws, is my favorite henchman. I love how the whole plot is basically MI6 trying to get something and Spectre trying to counteract them, I guess. It's a very interesting plot, and Connery, I think, is maybe at his best here. I do not see any major flaws in this film. I would I would recommend Goldfinger over it solely because it's Goldfinger, but I love this film. And with that, my number one film of all 23 Bond films is GoldenEye. I do not know why. You know what? I do know why. This is the first Bond film I ever saw. I played the video game all through my childhood, and it's just, I don't know. It's something about this film, how Brosnan acts, how it's him versus Trevelyan, his basically even better than Red Grant equal. Xenia's awesome, Boris is awesome, Natalia's awesome. Everything about this film's awesome, and including the video game, it is the best Bond thing in my opinion, and I do not think they'll ever be able to top this. Thank you for watching, and for every new subscriber, I will make a new video at your request.